Today we'll be talking about coloring with crayons. All little kids like to color. It's just what they do. You know, when a little kid is done making a picture, they always say, "Hey, look what I did." Everyone enjoys achieving things, whether it's coloring in a picture, winning a game of Monopoly, or earning some great award. It just feels good. In the Bible, the Assyrians were given a victory over Israel to punish Israel for the sins they had done. But the king of Assyria was boastful about his achievements. And he says in Isaiah chapter 10, verses 13 through 14, "By the strength of my hand I have done this, and by my wisdom, because I have understanding, I removed the boundaries of nations. I plundered their treasures like a mighty one. I subdued their kings. As one reaches into a nest, so my hand reached for the wealth of the nations. As men gather abandoned eggs, so I gathered all the countries. Not one flapped a wing or opened its mouth to chirp." God then is angry with him for all his boasting. And he says in verse 15, "Does the axe raise itself above him who swings it? Or the saw boast against him who uses it? As if a rod were to wield him who lifts it up, or a club brandish him who is not wood." This could be compared with a kid drawing with crayons. Let's say after a kid made this picture, the kid overhears its crayons talking, and one of them says, "Did you see that picture? Am I not just the greatest? Like, that was a perfect drawing right there." I think the kid would be kind of mad at his crayons for boasting like that. The crayons weren't the one who was coloring the picture, it was the kid. Just like it wasn't the Assyrians who defeated Jerusalem, it was God. God was angry with the Assyrian king and promised all sorts of destruction on him for that. In verse 16 to 19 he says, "Therefore the Lord Almighty, will send a wasting disease upon his sturdy warriors. Under his pomp a fire will be kindled, like a blazing flame. The light of Israel will become a fire, the Holy One a flame. In a single day it will burn and consume his thorns and his briars. The splendor of his forests and fertile fields it will completely destroy, but as when a sick man wastes away. And the remaining trees of his forest will be so few that a child could write them down." As humans, when we achieve something, we naturally get proud of ourselves and sometimes become a little boastful. And God obviously is angered by boasting. And in 2 Corinthians 11:30, it says, "If I must boast, I will boast of things that show my weakness." And in Jeremiah chapter 9, it says, "Let not the wise man boast of his wisdom, or the strong man boast of his strength, or the rich man boast of his riches. But let him who boasts boast about this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who exercises kindness, justice, and righteousness on earth, for in these things I delight." So what is important to remember with all achievements is that you didn't do anything to achieve it. God just used you, just like a kid used the crown. I imagine that if this kid heard his crowns talking like that, he'd want to break them in half, just like God, after the Assyrians were boastful, sent destruction on them. Rather, if these crowns were to be boasting, they should have said something like, "That kid who held me in his hands, did you see what he just did with me? I am so glad I could be used in that way." What I do not want you to take from this is that crowns can talk, because they can. What I want you to take from this is that God wants to use you in his perfect plan. But it is wrong for you to boast about when you are used, because you didn't do anything. God just simply used you as his crayon.